Welcome to the Brendan Burns Show. I'm Brendan Burns, and I interview and share the stories of high performers, happiness engineers, and people who have created the life that they deserve on their terms. I sit down with speakers, pro athletes, and entrepreneurs from all over the world who have chosen to live a life of fulfillment and joy instead of status or money. In each episode, we share actionable strategies that you can implement in your life, plus inspiration along the way. So come join me for this episode of The Brendan Burns Show.
I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm originally from Reno, Nevada, in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So I miss the mountains a lot, but I like it out here in Atlanta too. And I basically have always been destined to work in the health field in general. And I think that probably comes from, since I can remember, my mom used to tell me that I was going to be a brain surgeon. And
Wow.
I'm not, by the way, but I basically thought I was going to be until I started college. So I've always been really interested in health and medicine in general. And then when I started undergrad, I got the opportunity to work for a physical therapy clinic as a physical therapy aide. And from there, I decided I was going to be a physical therapist. And so I did my undergrad in that, in health ecology, which is pre-physical therapy school, what you do. And while I worked at the PT clinic all through undergrad, I really got into fitness and wellness and nutrition. And I was working with a lot of athletes, and all of my colleagues were runners. And so I really got into running and really trying to figure out like how I can optimize my running and start competing in running competitions. And then when I graduated from undergrad with my health ecology degree, where I took all of, the general health science stuff, anatomy and physiology, exercise physiology, kinesiology, all the biologies and organic chemistry, all that stuff. And so I really got an understanding of the body and how it works and what happens when you do different things to it. And so little did I know at the time, by doing the things I was doing with nutrition and exercise, I was actually biohacking and didn't know it because the term hadn't been coined yet. But basically what I was doing. So from there, I graduated from undergrad and I was going to be a physical therapist. And while I was applying for a PT school, my mom had almost died because she had an overdose on opioids. Wow. And she's fine now, thank goodness, and recovered from that. But it really made me take a step back and pause what I was doing. And I decided I wanted to have a greater impact on the field of health in general. And I saw that there are a lot of issues with our healthcare system. So I wanted to contribute to like a systems level change in healthcare. So I decided to get my master's degree in public health. And my goal was to work for the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention because I thought I could make the biggest impact there. Right. So I finished my master's program, moved to Atlanta, started working for the CDC. There are a lot of steps in between that, but anyway, we'll fast forward there. And so I've been in Atlanta for 3 years now, working for CDC.
So you moved to Atlanta, that was for the job primarily?
Yes. So
I thought you were like born and raised there.
No. I'm a Reno girl.
A what girl?
A Reno girl.
A Reno girl. I have a funny story about Reno that I'm going to tell you in a minute, but keep going.
You know what's funny? Everybody has a funny story about Reno.
How does that make you feel as someone from there?
Yeah. So I've been here for 3 years. And then when I first moved here, I was shocked by the traffic problem here.
Mm.
And so I ended up spending a lot of time commuting in the car, and the type A personality that I am wanted to use that time for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I started listening to like a ton of podcasts. And one of the podcasts that I listened to was the Bulletproof podcast
Is that by Dave Asprey?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that podcast like blew my mind because it was basically everything that I already did and more. And there was a term for it that I learned, biohacking. And it was all about, it was like doing things that are based in science, which is totally my jam. And like optimizing your life and your health and your fitness and everything through what we call biohacks, which are basically anything you do to your biology that changes it and also makes a positive change in your life. And so then I started learning about all these crazy biohacks that are above and beyond what I do. And I started trying out stuff, and really I was like shocked by the quick results that I had on a lot of this stuff to become like a higher performer and like get things done and have laser focus. And people at work would be like, how on earth do you get so much done in the first like few hours of work? And it's because of, you know, the biohacks that I do. But anyway, so that really like changed my perception on what is possible from humans in general, and became really my passion. I ended up spending all of my time outside of work researching and trying out different biohacks. And then people were interested in it on regular social media. So I decided to create a page dedicated to biohacking. And that was my BioCurious page that I came up with. And since
Which
then,
is deceptively named when I first got a friend request from you on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of a funny, clever.
It's a great play on words. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's where I am now. And I'm really I love taking all my areas of expertise and my passion for biohacking and wellness and health and fitness and combining it all and sharing it with people. And now because of you, thanks to you, I'm going to monetize that.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to do that for you. I'm going to tell my Reno story, and then I have a bunch of questions from what you were talking about.
Okay.
So I went to Reno. Well, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. I was with my grandparents. They're huge travelers, and I was so grateful that they took me all over really the world when I was very young, which gave birth to this Brendan passion for like going to the Great Wall of China and Tokyo and all over the world. But we go to Reno, and we're in the airport, which, as I'm sure you know, well, at least when I was there, I don't know if this is still the case, but they have slot machines all over the airport.
Oh, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, it's tiny.
Oh, it's small. Yeah, small airport, but yeah. I remember a lot of slot machines.
Yeah.
And my grandparents they're pretty moral, like kind of boring, conservative, like good. These are the grandparents you want, you know, like they're there to teach you lessons and, you know, eat healthy and do all these things. And so I see the slot machines, and I'm like, I need a quarter right now. I have to play.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's illegal, you know, you're under 21 or 18 or whatever. And they're also like, gambling is like a terrible habit, Brendan. Like, you can never win. You lose money. Now you should never gamble. And my grandpa smiles, and he looks at my grandma, and he's like, this is a perfect learning opportunity right here. We're going to give him a quarter. He's going to lose it. And then we're going to teach him that gambling is really this bad thing, and he'll grow up and he'll never gamble. So they give me the quarter. I put it in. I pull the machine, and it's like $1 sign, $2 signs, $3 signs, boom, 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 boom. And it was like $150 in quarters just starts coming out. And I grab like a big cup, and it's like ding, 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 ding. And then like the first cup overflows. So I grab the second big gulp, and then ding, ding. And all these quarters are around me. And I'm like 7 years old, and I look at my grandparents. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to gamble so much for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah. But obviously I don't gamble at all now. So it's funny, but that's my Reno story. But let's go back to you. Crushing it with food, health, wellness, biohacking. a lot of people eat healthy and just do this early on, and then they grow up and they're like, this is cool, I'm gonna spread it. There are
Mhm.
other people like me who ate really poorly growing up. I lived on the Dunkaroos diet and ate all that processed food, and then it was so like refreshing and amazing to reinvent how I live and eat. And like I was like, I wish I knew this earlier on. There's
Yeah.
also it's a spectrum. Like, where were you growing up, and then when you discovered all this, was this an aha moment, or you were just like, oh, I've been on the right path?
No, so I, like you, I grew up on the hamburger helper diet. Uh,
Okay.
so hamburger helper, mac and cheese, hot dogs,
Yeah.
a Wonder Bread,
Yeah.
all of awesome things. And I still crave hamburger helper now and again, even though I know that's disgusting. But um, so yeah, I came from no knowledge of nutrition, or like from my family life. I didn't come from any like education in health or anything like that. In fact, I'm the first one from my family to even go to college.
Wow.
So everything I learned through colleagues and friends um, and school, and then I just applied it to my own life. And then every time I made a change in my nutrition, I got really good results as far as like how I felt, how I was able to perform as an athlete, as just mental performance. Um, and so um, I kind of took what I learned, which I've really followed mostly. If you want to put a label on it, it's mostly the paleo diet, but
Okay.
um, I would say it's really like three core principles that I think anyone could really follow, which is, one is cut out all processed sugar. You just don't need it. Garbage. It causes inflammation, and inflammation is both the cause and result of every chronic illness. Um, and
Wow.
yeah, and so sugar is just bad. Also, if you're trying to lose weight, everyone should know that sugar stores as fat more than actual fat does. So
Yeah. Yeah,
if
because fat's actually better for you than sugar.
exactly.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, if you're trying to lose weight and you're on like a low fat diet, you are going about it all the wrong way, especially if you're still eating processed sugar.
Mm.
Um, so that's one, no processed sugar. The other one is try to eliminate all processed and prepackaged food in at all. All that stuff is really full of chemicals and preservatives and toxins that are just poison to your body and are really going to hinder your performance in general. And the third is, as far as calories go, I've never been a calorie counter. I know some people need to do that. For me, I don't, but I go by how my body feels and what I feel like, I eat until I'm full. But that also is tied to having to eat consciously. But in general, you want to let's reformulate the food pyramid. So your biggest category and your most calories should come from high quality fats. Your second category, um, middle number of calories, should come from high quality protein. And your third category should come from your carbs, and hopefully that's fruits and vegetables and things like that. And in general, you always want to eat your food closest to the source, and as fresh as possible.
Wow. That's really, really helpful. And I just want to go back to what you said about the processed sugar. So, did you say that processed sugar is the cause of inflammation, and inflammation is the main cause for chronic illness?
Yes.
Wow. So what does that mean? Like, because chronic illness, does that include chronic pain, or is it chronic diseases, like internal body, both?
All of the above. So everything from like fibromyalgia, and other autoimmune diseases, to cardiovascular disease, to diabetes, to even cancer. Inflammation is the common theme in all of these things, and especially if you think about autoimmune diseases, it really makes sense, because that is your body's immune system attacking itself, which then, if you think about it, like your immune system, if you scrape your knee or something, um, or like hit your knee on something, it swells up. And the reason why that inflammation is coming from your lymphatic system is sending all of your resources that your body has to heal that area to that area to try to fix it. And so you get a lot of swelling and inflammation, but then it causes some issues in that area. You know, you get bruising and pain and things slow to heal and that sort of thing. So it makes sense if you think about it in that way, but that is happening throughout your body in all of these chronic disease areas. And sugar is proven to directly cause inflammation in the body.
Wow. So I know, like, I'm not going to add sugar to stuff. I'm going to try to eat less sugary things. But other than like candy, like, what are some common foods to avoid that are filled with processed sugar, and just general like mistakes people make of maybe things that don't seem that bad but are filled with processed sugar, to avoid them?
Yeah. So one is look at your dairy in general. Like, they add a lot of sugar to milk and to things that you wouldn't think, because they don't taste sweet, but they're full of sugar. So the more processed your food is, it's very likely that there's a lot of sugar added. You know, a lot of people think that, and I think we're moving away from this, but a lot of people think that juice is a good source of like fruit.
Oh yeah, orange juice is like so bad for you.
Yeah, and because it's not actually juice. It's a orange flavor with sugar.
Ugh.
And even when it's just fresh squeezed orange juice, you're better off eating the full orange, because the fiber is going to move that sugar through your body, and it's not just going to sit there and store as fat.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, even if I'm juicing, I move. I mean, I'm sure like green juicing is good for you, but I go green smoothie and just get all of it, get the fiber and everything out of those things.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And I do both. I still do some juicing, some smoothies, mostly just because I think juice tastes good in the morning. And, you know, like grapefruit is a really nice thing to have in a juiced form. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you were talking about podcasts earlier, other than the Brendan Burns Show, of course, and
Of course, my number one.
and the you mentioned Bulletproof. Do you have any sort of go-to podcasts that you recommend for people? I would imagine like probably focused in this space, but just in general, like for people out there looking for other topics and shows to check out.
Yeah. So for like, if you want something where it's like more spiritual and like really good motivation, and something that will just like lift you up and remind you to always follow your passions, and also kind of cover some of these science biohacks and stuff that support health, there's a podcast by Shaman Durek that's it's a really cool one. And then another one that's kind of inspiring for people trying to start their own businesses or be entrepreneurs is the Rise podcast. I really like that one too.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's cool. Now, question, slightly off topic, but I do a lot of coaching, believe it or not, with people who are either currently addicted to substance, alcohol, drugs, or previously were. If you're open to it, I would love to hear the story about what happened. You mentioned your mom had some overdose situation.
Yeah. So actually, this is what caused me to get involved in public health. I come from a family that has a very severe history in depression and anxiety and addiction. Addiction is prevalent in my family from all sides. My father, who I was raised by my stepdad, but my biological father had an alcohol and drug addiction. My mom never had anything when I was growing up, but I guess once, you know, the kids left the house, everything probably that she never dealt with, as far as like her mental health, I think came up for her, and she didn't know how to deal with it. And was also going through a lot of health issues. She has both total knee replacements. She's had neck surgery, all kinds of stuff. And so because of that, and her mental health issues, she ended up being addicted to opioids.
Right.
and actually hid it very well. None of us knew, and until she overdosed, and then we were all shocked to find out that she had been doing this for years.
Wow.
And so yeah, addiction it runs rampant in my life, unfortunately. And so for me, I know that I have to take care of myself, and my mental health, because I'm prone to that, genetically, and in the way I was raised. And so I do things actively to not let that come up in my life.
Wow. First of all, thank you for sharing, and I'm sorry to hear that about your mom and your dad and your family.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone's working through it though, and it's been helpful for me to get education in health and wellness in general, because I've been able to support my family members who struggle with this stuff and help them kind of get through some of this stuff. But it also shows me that with certain interventions and lifestyle, that you don't have to go down that road just because your genetics say so.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's so interesting because in my background, my past, my family had a lot of depression and addiction too.
Mhm.
Like your mom, my family hit it really well. So I grew up thinking everything was fine. My stepfather was addicted to a lot of different things. He was just had this addictive personality where he would go from buying things to alcohol to drugs, and ultimately wound up in rehab for alcoholism and was disbarred from the couldn't practice law anymore.
Mm.
So it was pretty severe. And it was interesting because on my own journey, I've found that certain activities that I have an addictive personality, and starting with drinking and moving to alcohol, or starting with alcohol, then food, and then travel, and like things that I wouldn't think of, like social media, became like a little bit getting out of control. And then I realized, okay, I need to slow it down. And so studying addiction is what got me onto this path. And then ultimately being able to coach other people on it has been really rewarding. So thanks again for sharing that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and really interesting to know that you do coaching on that. And at CDC, one of our big initiatives right now is the opioid epidemic, and so it's been really cool to kind of be involved in that.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to mention is my coworker from my last job, like your mom, hit it really well. And I would go to the gym with him. We would lift weights and run and talk. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I just went on this date and I hooked up with this girl." And I was like, "Oh, this guy's like really inspiring and fun." And then one day, boom, just he died. He overdosed, and it was like I had no clue. I was totally shocked.
Yeah, yeah, and it affects so many more people than you think. Actually, my brother, my older brother, died last year. As he didn't die from his addiction, but um, in the end, yes, he did, because all of the damage that he caused to himself by partying hard for maybe 15-20 years of his life caught up to him, and he had heart failure. So um, so I've definitely dealt with that, and I've also had lost friends to both suicide and overdose because of their addictions. So
Wow. Well, I'm sorry about your brother, and I never would have known this. I mean, from our group calls and from Instagram, like you seem like the most positive, motivated person. And let's use this as a transition because one thing that really stood out to me that you said earlier, that I'm sure listeners and watchers are really curious too, is what you said about how the biohacks have allowed you to be so productive in, let's say, the first couple hours of your day.
mhm.
And I've done certain things myself where it's like 7 o'clock at night and I feel like I've already done 2 days worth of stuff. And I'm like, all right, what am I going to spend the next 4 hours doing before I go to sleep? This is amazing.
Yeah.
So how have you created that?
Yeah, so the first thing, and my favorite biohack, and the one that I will never give up, is a lot of you might have heard about the bulletproof coffee, which is basic, or fat coffee, what people call it different things. So basically what I do is in the morning I put in my coffee, and instead of having breakfast most of the time, I will have in my coffee I blend up MCT oil, which is medium chain triglycerides, which are derived from coconut oil, and grass-fed ghee. And, I think it's important to get grass-fed because there are certain nutrients in grass-fed ghee and butter and dairy in general that you don't get from grain-fed cows. And also grains cause inflammation in most people. And so if you're eating cows that ate grain, you will still get that. The side note.
We're not, it's like not just what you eat, it's what you eat eats.
Exactly.
Second level.
Yes. So we can go down a long rabbit hole on all of this nutrition. We'll stick to those main concepts that I covered. In general, so the bulletproof coffee, it really just gives you laser focus. And the reason why is because your brain is fueled by fat. And so that is what is going to sustain your mental focus and feed it and help you to be like very productive. So that has been my big secret. But also if I pair that with like intermittent fasting, where I don't eat my last meal of the day, or I eat the last meal of the day around 8, and then I don't eat again until about 1 o'clock the next day. But
so like the 16-8 type style.
Yeah, but I still have, I don't believe in not like cutting out calories altogether in that, because I don't want to starve my body. But so the only thing I have in that fasting period is my fat, which is in the coffee. So I fast from protein and carbs, but I still have the fats, which fuels my brain, which is the most important thing.
Interesting. So you'll do like a 16-8 type fasting, but during the 16 you will ingest fats.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Okay, cool. So we're talking about biohacks. You mentioned the bulletproof coffee or the fat coffee. Why don't we just talk about morning routines? Like, what else do you do when you wake up? Like, what's your morning routine like?
Yeah. So my morning routine usually includes working out first thing in the morning when I can, because that gets my day started. And then if I pair that with my bulletproof coffee right after, then I am like on fire for like 4 hours.
You're just unstoppable.
Yeah. And
Wonder
people get mad because they come into work at like, 9 or 10 or 11. CDCers are like late comers to work. And they have like 5 emails from me already, and they're like, you need to stop. But I also like to set my intention for the day. And so whether it be going over like the maybe 3 main things that I want to achieve that day, but more important than that is that I want to remind myself what is the motivation behind needing to achieve those things. And so that's either like my long-term goal or vision or my passion or whatever it may be. But reminding myself why I do what I do is important in the morning. And I would love to do a whole slew of other things in the morning, but I end up doing a lot of the morning routine things at night before I go to bed, just because of timing and having to go to my regular day job and all that. So at night, I like to do my gratitude practice and like journaling. And then I also try to get in like a little meditation, which is usually only like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better than nothing. I did a 5-minute meditation to this new chant. It's like an Indian chant, like Om. It's amazing. And just put my feet up on the couch, like lying flat on the ground. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Have you ever tried Kundalini yoga?
Yeah, so this was actually taught to me by a Kundalini yoga teacher and meditation teacher over this past weekend.
Oh, cool.
I'm pulling it up now. It's actually in Mastery Academy. So you have access. It's if you go to the meditation library at the end, and you go to meditation music, it's called Om Namah Shivaya.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that. Yeah. Oh, you know it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
I don't know probably the meditation itself, but yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So we got some morning routine stuff. We got some evening gratitude and journaling. This is amazing. Just going back to like the straight sort of food, fitness, biohacks.
Hmm.
What are your other top moves? We talked bulletproof coffee, 16/8 fasting.
Hmm.
Any other go-tos for bio-curious Kayla?
Yeah. So right now I'm really focusing on sleep hacks in general.
Mm.
Um, so the number one thing for me for sleep hacks is not only, trying to get 8 hours or at least 7 hours of sleep, which is funny that we have to call that a biohack now, but really it is because
To
most,
live normal, to sleep a normal amount.
yeah. And but also it's blocking blue light at the end of the day before bed. For me, I don't have an option. I have to be on the, yep, exactly. I was gonna reach for mine, but they're upstairs.
I got it. Yeah, I'll keep these on for a minute. Go
Yeah.
on.
So blocking blue light both by changing the settings on your phone and your screen. For people like us and probably everyone in Mastery Academy, it's not an option not to be on your computer until bed.
Right.
So so the best way is to change the settings on your screen, on both screens, all screens, to block out some of that blue light, and then you can wear your blue light blockers like Brendan has on right now.
Bonus
Perfect.
points.
Um, so I have actually nighttime ones that I wear before bed, which are like, they look more like yours, where they have like the orange lens. And then I have daytime ones that are actually clear, but they block some of the blue light. At work, at CDC in my office, I'm under fluorescent light and looking at a screen all day. So so that helps with like the eye strain, and I don't feel quite as like my eyes don't hurt as much by the time I get home.
That's great. Yeah, it's funny what you said about sleep. Like, for whatever reason, like I've just always made sleep a priority, like all throughout my life. Like in high school, everyone's like, I was like, no, I get 8 hours of sleep. They're like, oh, wait till you get to college, and I was like, got to college, I was like, nope, 8 hours. And then they were like, oh yeah, that's fine, but just wait till you get to law school. And went to law school, still 8 hours. So I've always thankfully been very much focused on sleep, but I read studies that say, average American gets something like 6 hours, and I know people who sleep 4 or 5 hours, and then they become accustomed to being sleep deprived, and then they say, oh, I read this study and I only need 5 hours of sleep, or I only need 4 hours. But I think the studies from what I've seen say that an average you need about at least 7.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I think what the average person needs at a minimum is like 7.2 is what
Yeah.
the research says right now. But often I don't get that much, even though I know that I need it. So there are ways that you can support your biology that can reduce the amount of damage that you do by getting less sleep. So not only do I try to like get the highest quality sleep in the short amount of time that I have to sleep, which is really important, which is, doing your blue light blocking. You can also you can get like a grounding mat to put on your bed that helps to neutralize your electromagnetic fields in your body, which will also help you to get to sleep faster and not be disturbed when you're sleeping, and have more restful sleep. So optimizing the time that I am asleep to try to make it the most restful, and then doing things throughout the day that support my biology in general, so that like if I don't get as much sleep, I'm not causing more damage on top of that. So eating right. Also, if I have a night of like crappy sleep or not that much sleep, and you can tell by how you look when you look in the morning, look in the mirror, and have dark circles under your eyes, like don't go and run 10 miles that day. Like, just don't do it.
So take a break.
Go for a walk instead. I mean, still move your body, but just don't go and do a hard workout after you haven't even gotten the rest that you need the night before.
I have a friend, well, I don't talk to him these days, but this guy I went to college with, and he was very focused on his physical appearance, and he was a big calorie counter. And if he would go out and get really drunk, and he would like calculate the and then he would go out and have like 5 slices of pizza and like binge eat. And then the next morning he would wake up after like 4 hours of sleep, hungover, and he would just go and he would run the exact amount of calories that he needed to burn off. And he would be like, oh, I just ran 11 miles. And I'm like, there's no way that this whole package is good for you.
No, is that guy still alive?
I should check. Yeah, you're right. I should look into that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, he's changed his routine.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And just kind of along the lines of like, we were talking about the processed sugar earlier. What are, and so obviously like sugar is a big misconception, the fat myth, like, the whole low fat, and that's kind of been exposed to some degree. But what do you think is the other, or what do you see as sort of like the biggest mistakes that you see people making, and they either come to you or you just see them at work or wherever, and they're overweight or they're unhappy and overweight, and it's like, they're like, I don't get it. I'm like trying. I think I'm eating healthy. Like, what mistakes are they making?
I would say the number one mistake that we probably are all guilty of is that we practice distracted eating. I bet every single one of us eat either in front of the computer screen or the TV screen, or, you know, um, while you're driving, while you're on the phone, whatever. I bet we all do it 99% of the time. So because of that, you may eat faster, you may not pay attention to what you're eating, and you're certainly not paying attention to what your body's telling you, which is you're full at some point, you don't need any more. So a lot of people overeat because they're just not paying attention to what they're doing when they eat. How many of us also are eating a plate of food, and before you even swallow what's in your mouth, you're preparing the next bite? Like,
I used to do that. I used to eat so fast.
I still have to slow myself down because in my family, I had 4 siblings, and if you did not eat fast, you did not get seconds. So
Exactly. Yeah, you were trained to do it.
yeah. So I've always eaten super fast, and I probably always overeaten, but since I'm so active, it didn't ever like affect me. But eventually it did catch up to me, and I needed to, just in the way that I would feel like, I don't like feeling like crap after I eat a meal. Like, I want to still have a same level of energy after I eat. And so a lot of people, they'll eat a meal and then they immediately crash and they feel like crap, and they have to like lounge on the couch for like an hour afterwards just to recover from what they ate. And that's
Yeah.
because they've just eaten way too much. And
Yeah.
or maybe they're eating, I mean, obviously eating the wrong thing. So if you're eating a pre-packaged meal or whatever, I would say, at the very least, look at what the serving size is, because I guarantee you're eating way more than one serving.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's well said. Um, I was going to ask you. So we're talking about. I still have a lot of questions to ask you. This is so helpful. Yeah, just thinking about the mistakes that people are making, because obviously, like we talked about the sugar earlier. I was thinking also like the sort of what's like socially acceptable, and how do you kind of like, because like one thing for me, actually, let me just ask you, like, what's your relationship with alcohol? What do you think about
Mhm.
alcohol? Personally, do you drink? I'm curious. So let's just talk alcohol for a minute.
Yeah. I love it, just like everybody else. I'm personally a beer girl, which for biohacking is like a huge no-no. But
Yeah, it's like the worst, right? All the
yeah.
carbs.
Oh yeah. Well, that, and it's just the composition of beer itself, and it's got wheat and other grains is what it's made from. So there you go, your inflammation once again. But
Right.
Atlanta's got a ton of. It's like the city of a million breweries, and so it's really hard to not drink beer, especially when I love it. But
Yeah.
and I'm not a big wine person, never have been. It kind of makes me feel sick. And like booze, just because of my family's history, is like scary. So I don't really like to go down that road. But
Right.
but in general, I think it's the same thing as pizza or pasta or cheese or whatever. Um, I think of eating as a lifestyle and not a diet. So if you put yourself on a diet, I think you're setting yourself up for failure, because that is implying that it is temporary. And really, the way that you eat and decide to live your life should be a lifestyle, and it should be
Right.
sustainable. So for that to be sustainable, I still need to be able to do some of the things that I enjoy sometimes. So if I want to have a couple of drinks or a couple of beers or whatever, I let myself do that, but also I'm very conscious of what that means. So if I decide to have a couple beers and eat pizza with a friend tonight, that's fine, because I know that I'll get back like to my regular eating tomorrow. But also, I'm very aware that I'm probably going to pay for that as far as like my mental clarity and the way that I feel for a couple of days. So I weigh the risks. I weigh out, what's going to happen and what I'm doing. So it's a social event. I want to let loose. I want to enjoy. And so I'm going to, but also I know what effect it has. So that also keeps me, accountable to myself, but it also keeps me to a level that is acceptable for my biology. So I'm not going to have 10 beers tonight and just get hammered, and then be sick for a week because I cannot afford that, for
Yeah.
my lifestyle.
No, that's you said a lot of, there's a lot within that is really interesting. And one thing I want to pull out is in my experience of cutting down, because I mean I drink alcohol socially, but like
Yeah.
way different. Like I definitely abused it in college, for example, in law school. Like it's rare to see me have even more than 2 drinks, but more than
Mhm.
3. Like also partially because I'm such a lightweight now that I don't need that many.
Yeah.
But once I, number one, like basically cut out 90+% of my alcohol intake. But number two, started eating a lot cleaner. Like when you talk about like sort of eating paleo, like I eat very similar, like
Mhm.
very much like based, like actually plant based for me. I'm doing meat. It's like very lean, like, organic ideally. So I'm very much like in that camp. And once you cut out so much of the processed sugar, the processed foods in general, and the alcohol, you develop a sensitivity where if you
Yeah.
eat something processed or you drink a lot of alcohol, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? I don't feel amazing,
Yeah.
right? Did you have that experience?
Yes. And so I have a similar path as you. Of course, like in undergrad, you do like the binge drinking every weekend, and then you'd
Yeah.
feel crap for like 3 days, but you
Yeah.
didn't know it because that was like your lifestyle.
Yeah, you
Um,
think that's normal. Yeah.
and then, like you said, you get into this routine where you're eating really healthy and you're not drinking, barely at all. And so then when you do those things, when you eat a slice of pizza or you have too many drinks or even a couple drinks if you don't drink at all, you notice that it affects you in a huge way. And that really is a deterrent to doing it because if you need to be productive, it's going to be hard to do that if you're feeling crappy.
I really like, I love that I'm my own filter now. And I know that it's not normal. And like, it's interesting seeing a lot of my friends, not a lot, because I would say I really surround myself by people who are mostly kind of
Mhm.
in the same page as you and me at this point in my life. But seeing some of my friends are like, oh, I'm like so hungover, or like, oh, it's like, I'm grateful that I don't feel that anymore. Or if I do, it's kind of like a warning, like, we can pay attention to these signals now and know that this isn't normal for us. But then the other thing that I think is important is like kind of our relationship with ourself through this process, because I've seen some people, for example, I have coached people with disordered eating, and I see that a lot of it is related to like how they feel about themselves. And one thing that I notice is like having a good attitude and
Mhm.
staying like being like, oh, okay, I ate a cheat meal or I did this, and not beating yourself up for it. It sounds like if you're gonna have a few beers, have some pizza, you're aware of it, you're fine with it, and then you get back onto like your normal eating habits going forward. Is that something like that you've just seen in yourself, like kind of good relationship with yourself, not beating yourself up if you're gonna go and have something kind of delicious or off the menu?
Yeah, I think I do like uh, I'm basically stick to like a 90%, like really good, healthy diet, everything I should be eating, and then 10% whatever the hell I want, because if I don't, then I can't stick to it long term. So I have to, if somebody told me today, like, you can never ever have a slice of pizza again, I'd be like, screw that, and I would go out and probably eat a whole pizza. And so, but I know that I can have these things whenever I want. And so then it kind of decreases my desire to have them because I know I can still do it whenever. And I'm not going to like cut it out completely. But also like I make a choice of when I do want to do it. And then, yeah, I don't beat myself up for it because I know that I do take care of myself 90% of the time. And I also see it as part of self-care to allow yourself treats every now and again. And, a lot of times it's social. You're eating this way or you're drinking this way because it's social. Nobody really wants to be like the pain in the ass guest at a dinner party where you have to say, oh, I can't eat anything you're serving. So for me, I'm like, you know what? This is a fun event and I'm just going to eat whatever they're serving because it's good and it's social and it's fun, and I'll, get back on track tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, why, you eat that way 90% of the time, 95% not. Like, because I bet there's some people who go and act that way. Oh, I'm only vegan, gluten-free, and they have to turn everything upside down. And then they go home and then they like have their craving or their cheat meal.
Oh, yeah. I actually had a coworker that every time it was like one of our patients at the PT clinic would bring in like treats, or, a lot of patients would bring in like cookies or donuts or whatever. And she would always be like, oh, no, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I can't eat that. And then one day walked into the break room where we always like put our leftovers, and she was back there mowing down on and whatever else. And it was like, what? I thought you didn't eat that stuff. And it was probably because she limited herself so much that she just like ended up binging on it. And she probably did that often, because she limited herself so much that, she like reached her threshold of being able to handle that and then just like went overboard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, one of my former clients had that, and it was interesting because I love donuts. I can't even tell you the last time I had one, but that's because I allow myself to eat them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not like, oh, I need, like, I probably haven't had a donut in like 2 years, which is now I want to go get one. But I remember she would like buy like a big thing, like she would go and buy like 5 at once and take them all home. And I was like, I've never seen that before. I would buy one and like eat half or eat the whole thing. But it's interesting. Yeah. And it also kind of reminds me of like, I lived in Barcelona, Spain for like 4 months of college, and all the Americans come in with like our beer funnels and ping pong balls and decks, like all the crazy Americans who are like, and we're not even 21. I was 20 at the time. So it's like when something's not allowed ever, it's like all we do is obsess over it. Whereas like we'd be at a bar, like taking shots, being rowdy. And then you would have like the 17, 18-year-old like Spaniards and French people like sipping their drinks and being like, these stupid Americans, like, because like they're allowed to do it. So they find the balance. That's why like binge drinking is such a huge problem in America, much more than these other countries. So.
Yeah. And it's really just that principle of if you completely like starve yourself of something, you're going to want it more than you would if you just allow yourself to have it occasionally.
Exactly. Cool. Ready for the rapid round?
Yes.
All right. These are not on the list I sent you in advance, so you're on your toes. What is your favorite dinosaur, dessert, and city in the world?
Dinosaur. Okay, I like T-Rex, mostly because his little arms are kind of cute.
Yeah. Okay.
What was the second one?
Dessert.
Oh, cheesecake. Oh my God. I love cheesecake. And I don't really eat dairy in general, but if I'm going to eat dairy or if I'm going to eat dessert, it's definitely going to be cheesecake. I don't like regular cake. And also one tidbit is that if you're eat sugar, it's really good to pair it with protein because protein binds to sugar and it won't store as fat as much.
Ooh, that's a good pull quote. That's for the show notes right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if you're going to eat so what's an example of that? Like what's an example of doing it the wrong way and then doing it the right way with that?
Yeah. So let's say the wrong way would be eating a donut and that's all you eat.
After I just confessed my love to donuts.
Yeah. And right way would be maybe go ahead and eat your donut, but also eat a handful of almonds afterwards or with it.
Right. Okay. So pairing protein with sugar. That's great.
And then if you're eating, protein with it, you might eat less of the sugary thing. So if you ate your handful of almonds first, then you eat your donut, then you probably won't eat the whole donut. So.
Yeah. I like to do that sometimes. Like if I'm starving and I'm like about to order food from like delivery, the first thing I'll do is like, I'll finish my salad in the fridge or like have a snack like that, like almonds, and then you wash it down with a big thing of water, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna order something like more reasonable now.
Yeah.
Cool. And favorite city in the world?
Ooh. So I think in general, my favorite place in the world is the Amalfi Coast, uh,
Yeah,
which is just like the most gorgeous place I've ever been to in my life. I've only been there once, but I've been all around the world. I travel for work, um, and I've been everywhere, and that is the most gorgeous place.
that's awesome. I actually haven't been there yet. I've been to Italy a couple times, but it's
Oh,
on the
you-
list. Yeah, cool. So what else? We were gonna do, let's do a takeaway. Like if you could leave listeners, watchers with like one thing, change the world, Kayla, like give them some wisdom to go home and do. What's their homework or takeaway?
okay, so I think we've talked a lot about nutrition today, and that's really a huge part of my passion. So I think if people change one thing in their routine, one thing in their lives, they want to try one biohack, um, cut out sugar from your diet. If you're going to eat sugar, eat some good, don't eat as much, but eat good quality and good sources of sugar, which are few, but like raw honey is better choice. Uh, like pure maple syrup, still not great, but a lot better than like regular white sugar. So just, I guess in general, be conscious of what you're eating. Like pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to how much you're eating, and also pay attention to your body, what it's telling you. If it's telling you, if you're feeling crappy after you eat, it's telling you you need to take a look at what you're eating. And if you're um, like if you're feeling overstuffed after you eat, then you didn't listen to your body when it told you that you were done.
Yeah. And slowing down, like
Yeah.
harabachi bu, the Japanese thing, eat until you're 80% full.
Yeah.
Stop. If you're still starving or hungry, you can eat, but just slow down. And then the other thing I think might be helpful to listeners is like, you talk a lot about the importance of cutting out the processed sugar, but it's
Mhm.
interesting because then I said, what's an example? And you were like, yogurt. And so, someone could go to the grocery store and get like a good like Greek yogurt and think that's really healthy, but not realize there's 20 grams of added sugar in it.
Yes.
So I would just layer on top of that, look at the labels when you're shopping. Look at the
Oh,
sugar. Yeah.
yeah. I probably spend maybe like a half an hour longer than the average person in the store because I read the label on everything. And
Yeah.
so I will pick up 5 things and compare all the labels and pick the one that like my very first thing I look at is sugar content.
Yeah.
Whatever has the lowest sugar content, I normally go with that one. If there's a couple that have low sugar content, then I look at other things like what is the protein content or things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really smart. And it's like, just to give the listeners get like a little bit more info, like, for example, like smoothies, which can be really healthy, like a fresh smoothie
mhm.
versus a prepackaged Odwalla smoothie could have like over 50 grams of sugar in it.
Yes. Also pay attention to serving sizes because one of
Yeah.
those is 2 servings.
It's
So
two
it's
servings. Yeah.
of sugar.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're usually like it's like usually like 26, 27
Yeah.
grams.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you have to double it. You're like, okay, 50 grams of sugar. And then so I was gonna say, like you said, dairy, cereal is like really like I don't really eat cereal. I shifted more to like,
Don't
yeah,
don't.
just don't even eat cereal. Yeah, like the whole idea of like sitting down and having like milk and cereal is just like versus like what we now know today. Also, I was gonna say like granola bars and snack bars can have a ton of processed sugar. So
Yeah, for me, and because I know how it affects me, I don't eat grains at all. So no, like, no wheat, no oats, no. I don't even eat quinoa because it's a grain. And in general, it causes inflammation in your intestines for most people, and so it's just a better idea not to.
yeah,
But if you eat grains and it doesn't have any effect on you at all, and you know that, then fine. But just get like good quality.
yeah. No, I'm really glad you said that because it was funny when I first started to really get serious about health and wellness. I was in New York City. I went to my gym, and there was a guy set up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm taking readings and tests for like intracellular water density and this and that." And I'm like kind of a nerd, and I'm always into health and wellness. So I was like, "Sure." So he runs all my tests, and some are fine, and some are like way off the chart bad. And I'm like, "All right, I'll make an appointment with you." He was a holistic healer, chiropractor, and nutritionist,
Mhm.
and I go in on the first day, and he's like, "Oh, what do you eat, Brendan?" I was like, "Oh, I eat like really healthy, like all like low fat, like granola bars, Special K, like milk." And he's like, "Oh my god!" And for me, that was my first introduction to like plant based and paleo. He put me on actually
Mhm.
restricted paleo for a month, which was amazing. It was hard, but it was worth it. And I just realized, like learning from him, like you said, like how much processed sugar is just all these things that are marketed as like healthy. Like
Yeah.
the industry is crazy. So thank you so much for sharing this message.
Yeah. And in general, for people, if if you are confused and you don't know what diet to follow or where to start or what things to cut out or, you know, that sort of thing. And there is no one size fits all. So I don't condone anybody just following what the next guy says is good. What I would suggest is, if you can and if you can afford it, work with your functional medicine doctor, to figure out like what foods are going to be good for you. And you can actually do like DNA tests that tell you thresholds of different foods. So it'll tell you like not only what foods you shouldn't eat because it's going to be bad for your biology, but also like how much of each type of food you should eat. So you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, and a lot of people don't have money for that, then what you want to do is an elimination diet. So go down for like a week, go down to the bare minimum, and just the basic. So eat everything whole foods, natural, organic, like nothing processed, no wheat, no dairy, nothing. Just cut out everything. Do it for a little while, a few days, and then one at a time, add things back in. And if you add in something and you have a bad reaction, then you know that that thing is probably not going to be good for you, or that you should limit that thing. So for me, that was definitely grains. Like I would get a lot of fatigue and like mental fog from eating grains. And then I learned everything about it, and how most people have that inflammation reaction to it. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But just if you really want to test out which things you should and shouldn't eat for you specifically, either an elimination diet or getting like a DNA test.
Nice. Two
Yeah.
amazing recommendations. I'm in the kitchen with Kayla Osterhoff. An awesome interview. I have this here because I was recording some food stuff. I got Food Rules, Michael Pollan. And wow, this is amazing. I had no idea we'd run full hour,
Yeah.
go soup to nuts, everywhere in between, no pun intended.
Yes.
So I think we called out your IG earlier, but just in general, how can people find you, hear more, learn more about all the cool stuff you're up to?
Yeah, the best place is Instagram. Again, it's biocurious_Kayla. That's the best place to find me. Also, the link to my website is there. And for any runner friends out there, or if you know people who are runners, send them to my page, because right now I'm doing a giveaway for some free trail running shoes from La Sportiva, which are awesome. And so if you are interested in winning those, go to my page and check it out. Go to my page and check it out. Go to my page and check it out. Go to my page and check it out.